Welcome to the Purposepreneur Podcast with K. Francis Smith.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Purposepreneur Show. I am K. Francis Smith, the Purposepreneur, and I help people find, fund, and fulfill their purpose so that they can live their best life and so that the world can become a better place. I am excited about this show, and I'm so grateful to have you here, and you are in the right place, especially if you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you're in the right place. You are seeking your purpose. You're trying to figure out, why am I here? Well, let me help you. I am here to debunk the myth that you must go to someone's university, school, or any other institution to make a way financially for yourself in life. You are free to do what you're called to do. You are exactly who you are. Trust me, you don't need an institution to authorize you. You don't need receipts. We call them degrees. I call them receipts to prove who you are. You are exactly who you are. Don't let people influence who you are. You are who you are. Here's the question. Are you an entrepreneur? Are you? I'm not asking you a simple question here. I'm not asking you, do you have a job or are you a business owner? I'm asking you, at the core of who you are you an entrepreneur? Is there something inside of you that longs for the freedom? Maybe you've already got the freedom. Well, guess what? Now it's your job to help someone else get the same freedom you've got. Remember, rich people have money, but wealthy people have time. None of us knows when the clock is going to expire. All we know is the clock is ticking, and we better get busy. So I've got a question. What does the word entrepreneur mean? What is the etymology of this? Well, the term entrepreneur has an interesting history that, just like most entrepreneurial undertakings, includes an important pivot. Economist Mark Thornton uncovered that the term entrepreneur was originally used exclusively for government contractors. Can you imagine that? Government contractors, and these entrepreneurs increased their profits by using cheaper than promised materials and construction methods. Now, guess what happened? They delivered lower quality than expected. And in other words, guess what they did? They cut corners for personal gain. Now, as a result, they were widely known as tricksters and cheaters. These guys were not respected at all. So I want to ask you one more time. Are you an entrepreneur? You say, well, yeah, but not in that sense of the term. I mean it like I am a business owner. Well, before you call yourself something, you might want to know the origin of the word, right? So as entrepreneurs, we have such a wonderful landscape right now, but I want to say this because a lot of people are taking out bridge loans and all sorts of other loans, and we're mortgaging our future, so to speak. Remember, whatever you borrow, you've got to pay back. So whenever you borrow, you got to make sure that that money does what? Makes money. Remember, we went over some terminology last week, and this is business terminology. This show is about purpose and business. So if you're tuned into this show, I would assume that you want to see and hear about purpose and business. So as a business owner or as an investor even, you need to know at least two terms. One is assets. Assets are anything that brings money into your pocket or your bank account or wherever you put your money. And a liability is anything that takes money out of your possession. So an asset is anything that brings money into your possession, and a liability in its simplest form is simply something that takes money out of your possession. So again, I ask you the question, are you an entrepreneur? Well, if you are, welcome to the Purposepreneur Show. If you're still struggling with trying to find that purpose, that deeper meaning in life, what you are here for, why were you created? That's why I'm here. I'm here to talk you through that, hopefully learn through that. Today's show is going to be more about business than purpose. But guess what? There is a purpose in business. Money is not the most important thing. I am not going to lie and tell you that it is. But I will tell you this. Money is to your life what oxygen is to your body. Okay? That means try breathing and moving without oxygen. Try moving without money. You can't move. You're stuck. So we know that money is important. Now, we laugh on this show. We have a good time on this show. So we're getting ready to go into a segment called funny business. Now, this is hilarious because this is all about conference calls. We're in this conference call Zoom thing, and we did one about Zoom, but this one is about conference calls. And if you're anything like me, you've done a ton of conference calls lately, and you can go conference call crazy. So I want to give a big shout out to Tripp and Tyler, and we're going into a segment called Funny Business.
Tripp Crosby
has joined the meeting.
Beth?
Has joined the meeting.
Hello?
Tyler?
No, this is Beth from ICS.
Oh, hey, Beth. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Yeah. Just making it,
Tyler?
Has joined the meeting.
All right, well, this is Tripp. Who's here?
Tyler's here.
Beth's here.
Okay, the purpose of today's meeting is to discuss the...
Yeah, I'll be able to do it in like 30 minutes. John?
Has joined the meeting.
Hi, John.
Hi.
I was just trying to go over the purpose of today's meeting, which is to discuss the
Tyler?
Has joined the meeting.
Sorry, guys, I got cut off. Is Paul here? Send him the invite.
Put in your access code.
No, that's your PIN number.
It should be a 9-digit number.
Try pressing the pound key.
Paul.
Has joined the meeting.
Any questions before we move on?
Yes, this is Beth. What's our best plan of attack for the second quarter?
I
Question
think what
actually...
we should do.
Oh,
Go ahead. Oh, I think
Well,
what we should do.
it actually depends on how you look at it, 'cause
because
the
really
re-
come.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I think
Given
what we-
sales,
what we
we're at
really-
a...
I think
Let me just say that...
Okay.
That was a great graph, John. Tyler?
Well, my main concern with the projections from last year was that they're just insufficient. I mean, they're not even taking into account.
Did we lose Tyler again?
Hello?
John, are you guys taking distributions? John?
Oh, my bad. I was on mute. Let me start over.
So I've prepared a presentation. I'm sharing it with all of you. You should be able to see it on your screen right now.
Got it.
I don't see a link anywhere.
It says I need to download a plugin.
We are all using Macs, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
How can you?
Financials are looking great. Paul, do you have any comments on staffing?
I was thinking about that because we get a few more contractor types in. Hold on, I'm sorry. Rex, get down!
I don't know. I feel like when I look at the numbers last quarter, that you couldn't really tell a huge difference. So if we were to really tighten that up, then I...
To me, staffing is a huge impact.
Is that?
Is that me? Is that me?
It's not me. I don't think.
I just want to go over a couple of details as we move into our next section here. We got 3 new departments coming on board.
I'm breaking up a little bit, guys.
By the end of Q3.
Driving to
So
the dead
I need
spot.
everyone to give me detailed evaluations each
Sorry,
month
guys.
so that we know. That's it, guys. Beth, you'll send out a recap email that could have basically taken the place of this whole meeting, correct?
Yep, always do.
Yeah, thanks for doing that, Beth. Dave, you been here the whole time? Yeah. Huh. Well, thanks everyone once again. Oh, one more
I'm gonna keep it 100% real here, okay? This is a keep it real moment. At the end of the video, when he ended the conference call and everybody disappeared at the same time. Sometimes I wish I could do that in real life. You ever wish you could do that? Like just go boop and then people just disappear? Just exit, not just out of the room, like totally out of your life. Can I tell you the truth? There are some people you need to unfollow in real life. Hello. Can you hear me? And there are some times where there are people in your life that they just don't add the kind of value that you need for where you're going. And you need to make sure that you're putting yourself around A players. Let me give you a word. A players hire A players. B players hire C players. One more time. We'll rewind that, run it back. A players hire A players. B players hire C players. Now, why do I say that? Because you must surround yourself with the best. If you do not surround yourself with the best, you will not get the best results. Now, we all learn that sometimes we struggle. We go through these trying times and these seasons where we're fighting everyone around us when we're really fighting ourselves, because the company you keep will determine where you land in life. So I can take that further into relationships. A players hang with A players. The reason they're A players is because they're around A players. And B players hang around C players. That means even if you're in A level, bam, up here, and you're hanging around C players, the average between A and C is B. You just dropped yourself down by association. That means no matter how great you are, I know you're great, LeBron. I know you got it going on, LeBron. But guess what? Last season, LeBron, you didn't even make the playoffs. Why? Because of the company you had on your team. No matter how great a player you are, you can only go so far without the right players on your team. So you better start doing some picking. You better start doing some searching. You better start drafting some folks that can help you get to where you need to be. Now, John Maxwell was the guy who said that there are turtles and then there are eagles. And he confessed that he's a self-confessed turtle. But guess what? He keeps nothing but eagles all around him. And those eagles take John Maxwell and then they elevate John Maxwell and then he becomes the John Maxwell. Can I tell you something else? It's never too late. We didn't even hear about John Maxwell until after he was done pastoring. Can you imagine that? After his pastoral career is over, his other season kicks in and we don't even realize, many people, that he used to be a pastor. Okay. So we are now going into a segment that I love. This one here is a great segment called the Entrepreneur of the Week. This guy here, his name is Sean Kelly, and he owns a company called Jersey Champs. So we're getting ready to go into this segment called the Entrepreneur of the Week. Take us in, Sean.
Jersey Champs is a sports apparel brand that creates custom jerseys for all types of people, whether it's influencers, professional athletes. There's a lot of stuff we could do with jerseys. We don't just hit the sports fans, we hit all types of fans. We've made custom jerseys for Logan Paul, Roddy Rich, Ezekiel Elliott, Jarvis Landry, Darrell Rebus.
Let's say Jersey Champ. Turn around for me. Tell me what your name is, Jello.
And the ones we've worked with on actual jersey deals were 2 Chainz, YBN Namir, and Young M.A., and those all sold out completely.
Hi, I'm Sean Kelly. I'm 23 years old. I'm the founder of Jersey Champs, and this is my hustle.
I started Jersey Champs in May of 2016 when I was a freshman at Rutgers University. I started it because I really saw a need in the jersey game for other types of designs. Back then, you could only get jerseys of your favorite athletes, and there really wasn't jerseys of your favorite artists or other interests. So I really wanted to hit that market and just saw a need and went for it.
Here we have the Flint Tropics jersey. Klay Thompson wore this jersey before one of his games. It's the Jackie Moon Flint Tropics jersey. Here we have the First We Feast jersey. We did a collab with Sean Evans, a popular podcast on YouTube where people eat hot wings and get interviewed. This was one of my favorite collabs. Here we have a rapper collab, the rapper Russ, who's a pretty big rapper. We did a jersey for his album Zoo. We do a lot of jerseys for charity. This was the charity jersey we did for Kobe Bryant. We were able to raise a little over $50,000 in 2 days with this jersey. So here we have an example of an embroidery baseball jersey. This is Kakamba's. I got a custom one with my name and number on it. An example of a football jersey. This is Ray Finkel. It's from a movie and it's embroidered. And I am wearing one of our hockey jerseys. It's a custom Mighty Ducks one with the Mighty Ducks on the front and my name and number on the back. Our best sellers are definitely the basketball jerseys. and the jerseys we collab on with rappers and also the charity ones. So you can see more of our jerseys on our website at jerseychamps.com. So the hustle was real when I was first starting out in my dorm room at Rutgers because I didn't have any money and I didn't really have any knowledge of what I was getting into. So I had to learn everything on the fly. Like the first year I was working, 10 to 15 hours, some days 18 hours a day. So we've been able to grow mainly through social media. A lot of our customers come from Instagram or Facebook. We're starting to get into TikTok now as well. And just by leveraging influencers we've worked with, we're able to get, bigger and bigger people. So when we were starting out, we were just starting out with micro and nano influencers. And now we're able to work with the likes of rappers, A-list celebrities and stuff. And people really trust brands that have credibility. So last year we did $1.2 million. This year, hopefully we can hit $1.5 million. Unfortunately, the coronavirus has impacted our sales in the apparel space. A lot of companies got hit. We're hoping to bounce back and I think we can make that happen. So motivation for me is just growing the company, and I just pay myself $50,000 a year so I could get by, but I really put the company first, and that's always gonna be the way I see it. So just the long-term vision of where I want it to be is what motivates me. I just know that there's two types of people. There's like the talkers and the doers. I try to associate myself with action takers and the doers, so I don't really entertain people that are all talk. And I just believe you surround yourself with success, you'll become successful. So that's definitely my biggest piece of advice.
Now, shout out to Jersey Champs. Shout out to Sean Kelly. You are the Entrepreneur of the Week. We celebrate you. Here at the Purposepreneur Show, we celebrate greatness. We celebrate success. Listen, there is no future in hating. We celebrate and we congratulate and we salute you, Sean Kelly. Bing, you are the Entrepreneur of the Week. Now, if you're at home, maybe you're successful. Maybe you are and you want to be more successful. Maybe you're in the batter's box, you're in the batter's cage, or you're warming up, you're in the dugout, you're on deck, wherever you are. Guess what? Nothing is going to happen until you do something. So while life is happening, here's what I want you to do. I want you to give your very best. You want great results? Go ahead, give your very best. You want to see things happening like you've never seen before? You're tired of where you are? Guess what? Do something different. If you're tired of starting over, stop quitting. There is something in this for you. All you've got to do is make up your mind that you're going to go, you're going to go, you're going to go, you're going to go. You're going to keep on going. You're not going to let anybody stop you. You're not going to let anyone distract you. You're not going to put out rumors on yourself. The most amazing thing to me is how people expect to go up, and then on their way up, they drop something out of their mouth that takes them all the way back down. It's amazing to me how we say we want to go forward, but then we say and do things that are contrary to our destiny. You have greatness in you. You're already great. You're already made. God brought you here. You're here for a reason and a season. Time waits for no man. The hourglass is going in the opposite direction. And guess what? It's time for you to go. At this stage of the game, your greatest opponent is not someone else. Your greatest competition is not your friend. It's not your enemies. No, it's not even who you think it is. At this point in the game, your greatest opponent is time. Time is threatening you in such a way that the only player opposite you on the chessboard is not you. It's not you versus you. No. Time is your opponent opposite you on the chessboard that's threatening to take every piece and wipe them off the board. You cannot die with what's in you. You are going against time. So now, what does that mean for me? That means that you gotta go. You gotta go hard, man. You've gotta learn more. You've gotta be more. You've gotta get around people who want more. You've gotta go deeper. You've got to get some passion. You need that fire. I'm here to spark a flame up under you to get you going in the right direction, because time waits for no man, and time is passing you by. You got to think about that. I mean, this thing, look at it. It's going and it keeps going. It's not stopping because I looked at it or because I stopped looking at it. The time keeps on ticking. You've got to make the most of the moments, and you cannot manage time, but you can, in fact, manage yourself inside of time. So with that in mind, I want to take us to a segment called Giving You the Business. And this gentleman here is one of my favorites. He is serious. He owns professional sports franchises and many businesses. He's a shark. This man here is a billionaire. I want you to open up your ears and hear from the billionaire shark, the entrepreneur extraordinaire, Mr. Mark Cuban. Take us in and give us the business.
Out of all the reasons in the world, and I've read your book, you have the 10, all these keys to success, etc. What would you say is the number one reason why people fail? Not necessarily why they make it, the complete opposite.
Right, lack of brains, lack of effort.
Lack of brains, lack of effort.
Yeah, they don't do the work, they don't learn, when you walk in the room, when you start a business and you start to talk about somebody, you're never in a vacuum with no competition, unless you're just extremely lucky. And if there's going to be competition, that means somebody else knows your business as well as you do when you get started. And if you walk into a competitive environment and they still know more about the business than you do and more about your customers, you're going to lose. But most people don't consider that. They don't do the work. They don't learn more about their industry. They don't know even about their business. And so you've got to put in the effort to know more about your industry than anybody else. And that's the brains part, and that's the effort part as well. Because look, if you're competing with me, you better know what you're doing. Otherwise, I'm going to kick you, and you're not going to outwork me. And so, the combination is usually what kills businesses early on more than anything. Alluding to it earlier about entrepreneurs being born or built, and I think I knew I was wired to be excited about business. How or why, I don't know, but and there's certain guys that have the genetics to jump out of the gym, right? There's certain guys, that when they golf, they have the muscle memory and the discipline. Dirk Nowitzki may not be the most talented guy in the NBA, but his discipline and his focus to do what's necessary to be successful, he's willing to do, and combine it with being 7 feet tall and being skilled, it makes him an amazing basketball player. So it's understanding what your skill set is, finding the right place to use those skills, and then going for it. Will that make you $250,000? It depends if you pick the right industry. But whatever industry you pick, if you outwork everybody, if you try to be a little smarter than everybody, if you try to be a better salesperson than everybody, if you try to be better prepared than everybody, you've got your best chance. Because if you don't do it and somebody else does, I have the saying, work like someone's trying to take it all away from you. I actually work like someone's spending 24 hours, working 24 hours to take it all away from you. And that's kind of the way I look at it. I started my first business when I was 12. I was buying and selling baseball cards, buying and selling stamps, anything I could do to make money, I was hustling and trying to do. So I was into business, but I not so much where it was all my friends were into it with me, so they wouldn't know.
Baseball cards.
Yeah, baseball cards, you name it. I grew up in Pittsburgh, and so I would, probably even less than 12 years old, I would go out and buy a bunch of baseball cards that I collected, and I would package, I would say, okay, you're guaranteed to have a Pittsburgh Pirate in this package, and I would charge 3 times as much, and I'd set up on this park bench down in the park down in Scott Township where I grew up, and I'd have these little sales. And it was great. I made money, and it was, and I learned as much about business when I was 9, 10, and 12 as I learned any other time.
Let's transition to a different subject with college. You went to IU, right? Now you got a lot of people that say, forget about school, drop out of school.
They're idiots.
So you think they're idiots. Tell me why.
If you're going to have and run a business, if you don't understand accounting, you're already behind the 8 ball.
Can't you hire a guy that knows how to run
accounting? But then
accounting?
they still have to communicate to you. Your accountant might tell you you're profitable, but your cash is going down. Not understanding a breakdown. And when you don't,
do you think you need college to learn that?
Yeah, I think you do, right? Because it may not, for some people, look, if you're so self-motivated that you can take an online course in accounting and teach yourself everything, you're way ahead of the game anyways. But most people aren't. I don't care if you go to a community college and take accounting and spend $99 for the class. Just, spending the money forces you to be more obligated to do it. But accounting, finance, lesser extent marketing, sales, if the school offers that, these are all that's the language of business. And so while it's possible to teach yourself these things, and while it's possible to hire them, when you're starting your own company, you don't want to have to spend money hiring an accountant. Well, let me take that. If you've gone through all these classes, you probably don't have to hire a lawyer to incorporate, right? You can probably figure out yourself. And so your cost of opening up a business drops. But even more important than all that, that's the blocking and tackling. That's the language of business. You know, the thing I learned at Indiana that was more important than anything else, I learned how to learn. And learning became far more important to me, because the one certainty in business is that it's always going to be changing. If you're not always learning, to this minute, if I'm not continuously learning, if I'm not just absorbing as much as I can absorb, someone else is going to kick me, right? So you talk about paranoia. The greatest source of your paranoia should be knowledge. If someone else knows more than you do, and if you're not learning, if you don't know how to learn, if you don't have a thirst for learning and acquiring information, you're SOL.
So do you think, like, let's just say if we put 10 guys here, you interview them, okay? You could, within a 5-10 minute interview, say, this dude's not gonna make it as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, I can typically tell, right? I can tell by their passion, I can tell by their focus, I can tell by their preparation. You know, there's a whole realm of things in any business. Here, you know, here's the business you're in, and here's 1,000 things that influence whether or not you're gonna be successful. You know, through my experience in businesses, I can put myself in his position and say, okay, here are 900 of the 1,000 things he has to be aware of, and then go through and ask. And by how many of those or her issues they've been able to address already, that kind of gives me a sense of how hard they're willing to work. You know, and I can tell by the questions they ask me. So all I have to do is say, okay, what do you want to know? And, you know, when they start saying, what should I do?
They ask you.
Yeah, you know, and that's fine, right? And I want them to ask questions, but, you know, people like to say, you know, the only stupid questions are the ones you don't ask, and that's not right, right? Because the questions you ask tell whoever more about you than anything else you do. Because in particular, it tells me about your preparation. If you ask me questions about just basic things that you should have known and you should have down to a science, that's going to disqualify you almost more than anything.
Do you think there needs to be a healthy level of paranoia?
Oh, absolutely.
There needs to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I always say, you know, for every one of my businesses, I say, what would I do to kick my own? You right? So whatever business you have, there's somebody trying to put you out of business. There's somebody trying to take a bite out of your business. And it's better for you to figure out how they're going to do it rather than they do it. And so, yeah, that's being paranoid. And so you have to be paranoid. You have to anticipate other people's next moves, and you can't ever, you know, downplay the competition. I was at a business plan competition this morning at a college, and they were kind of being dismissive of the competition. And so you can't ever do that. You know, they're out there trying to take you down, and they're not just going to sit still. And if you're good, really, really good, you're going to inspire them to work even harder, faster, better. And so you have to be, you know, very self-aware of what you're good at and what other people are good at. And, you know, a healthy dose of paranoia makes a big difference. Is very helpful.
How does one entrepreneur increase the speed in areas that they can increase? There's certain things you can't control.
Speed in what way?
Speed of growing your business.
All right.
So how fast can I grow it?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. You've got to know your own skill set, right? And you've got to know how that fits within your company's life cycle. You know, some companies are slow grind. And you just have to understand that, and you've just got to bide your time until it starts to click, and then grow with it quickly. You know, if you're trying to release a product that needs to be ubiquitous, you've got to go as fast as you can, and then, you know,
release a product,
yeah,
like a launch.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of people who will say, you know, perfection is the enemy of profitability, right? And that doesn't mean you have to wait till it's a perfect product. It really just depends on what the product is. That, you know, a barbershop, right? Is it an app? Is it a service? Is it a product? But, you know, the key is looking for the low-hanging fruit. What customers are willing to write you a check or commit to it? You know, so that they're willing to integrate it into their daily lives or integrate it into their daily business. And so getting a commitment either through time or revenue is typically what I look for. And so if I can get a commitment, then I'm going to be able to learn. I'm going to see how they use it. Do they sustain usage? And then once I get the next one, hopefully it came a little bit faster than the first one. Then I can ask for referrals, and then the next one, and I just try to ramp it up. When I bought the Mavs, we had no season ticket holder base. And so literally it was a matter of just putting a list of former season ticket holders in a white pages back then, on my desk next to my phone and making phone calls.
You?
Yeah, me. Yeah, because if I'm not going to do it, how can I expect someone else to do it, right? So just get on the phone. Hey, this is Mark Cuban. I'm the new owner of the Dallas Mavericks. I'd like to invite you back for again. It's not, though. This is my business.
But you can't get regular sales guys or something to make those calls once they get to a quarter. You're a guy that's a billionaire. You're making those calls.
But that's all, and that's fine and good, right? Because everybody's got their own goals, right? But still, I don't want anybody at the Mavs to be able to say, well, he's not willing to do the work, right? There's, if I walk around, I'm picking up all the papers. I'm not saying go get that picked up. I'm like, okay, that's trash. I'm picking it up. But in terms of speed of growth, it's really, you got to get that first customer first. And then when you get that first, what did you learn? Reiterate, get that next customer. And then hopefully as you learn more and more through the process, then the next one comes by even faster.
Listen, shout out to Mark Cuban. Thank you so much for that wonderful information. I want to tell you that is one of my favorite videos of all times, hands down. That video has done more for me, and I would advise you and encourage you to watch that video over and over again. So many nuggets. Anytime you hear a billionaire who's so accomplished, so knowledgeable, this guy, he's learned more than most of us. He's forgotten more than most of us will ever remember. He's just got it, man. And for him to talk about he's calling people on the phone, most of us get a couple of customers and we feel like, I'm not calling anybody. This man said he was calling, listen, retro season ticket holders, not people who own season tickets now. I get that. You're giving them a courtesy call. Hey, this is a bonus. This is a perk. No, he's calling them to pick up season ticket holders. For me, that's a huge one. He says if something drops, he picks it up. So that means it's all about service, right? None of us is above service. Listen to me. Whatever line of business you're in, whatever you do, remember, it's all about service. And remember this, time waits for no man. Time keeps passing us by. Don't let time run out on you. You got an idea? This is the time to get it out. You got a book? I'm speaking to myself first. This is the time to get it out. You got a screenplay? This is the time. You've got a CD, this is the time. You've got a business, now is the time. You got a play, this is the time. Whatever it is that's in you, look, time keeps on going. It does not stop. Don't let anybody slow you down. You've got to keep moving. You've got to move. You've got to learn more so you can do more. The more you learn, the faster you can go. It's all about who you've got around you. And if you're going to be a sprinter, you're going to need some people who can sprint to keep up with you. You can't be a sprinter or a cross-country runner. Let's just say you're running cross-country and you're going to run 10 miles. You can't run 10 miles with people who can't run one. What's going to happen is after 1 mile, you're going to have to replace them because they can't go 2. So you've got to get some long-distance runners if you're going to be a long-distance runner. And if you're a sprinter, it's time to sprint. So whatever's in you, this is the time to get it out. Don't stop. Don't slow down. Don't listen to that old self, that old mind that's telling you to go back to where you came from. Everyone has those temptations. Your mind is always going to fight you for where you used to be. The challenge with that is you've already been there. You don't need to go back to that. You're going forward. You are in forward motion. You have momentum. So you've got to get people around you who can not only celebrate that momentum, but synergize that momentum. You need to move forward with a group of people who can move with you. This is your time to move forward because time is not slowing down. I'm going to say it again. Time is not slowing down. So you got to go further, faster. You got to dig deep. No matter what you've got to do. Maybe you've got to remove some things. Maybe you've got to add some things. Maybe you've got to do both. But now is the time to do it. I came to tell you today, do it. Do it. Why? because your destiny depends on it. Do it. Why? Because your purpose is calling you. It's calling you. It's not fulfilled yet. This is the time for you to move forward and don't look back. You can't think about going back. Look at time. It's getting away. And I want to tell you the truth. Why should you do it today? Because tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow never comes. Every time I look up, it's today all over again. It's today. We've never lived in tomorrow. Everything that's going to get done is going to get done today. This is the day for you to go forward. You're waiting for somebody else to do it? I've got another news flash. Someone else is dead. It's time for you to do it. Mark Cuban talked about picking up the trash off the ground. He talked about making phone calls himself. How many people do you need to call this week to be successful? How many pieces of trash you got to pick up? How many people do you have to exemplify leadership and service before? It's all about service. This is all about people. Business is about service. And high-level customer service brings high-level customer purchase. So, this is the end of the show. Time's up. Don't let time run out on you. Listen, this is K. Francis Smith, the Purposepreneur, signing off, saying, may all your dreams become a reality. May you find success in all you do, and may you live your life on purpose.